they are still here. In the near future, East Cleveland will continue to change in order to continue to function and to provide the services to business and residents that we can. We do that in a number of ways. Some of you may have seen on the news that we have shrunk our city staff. We have, because we must. In some cases, doing that requires new leadership. We have new leadership in many ways in the city of East Cleveland. We already introduced the 2 new council members. I'd also like to introduce new Chief of Staff, Mike Smedley. Is Mike around? I already mentioned him earlier. Mike, remind him if he's not here that he still did not get a single clap. He mentioned that at the staff meeting. That's an inside joke. Mike didn't get a single clap. Service director, our service director has retired and moved on. We have a new fire chief, and he's a good-looking fire chief. Now, when I don't say the rest of you are good-looking, don't take offense, but everybody agree. Rick Wilcox, he grew up around here. He's been in our fire department for years. Our new fire chief, Rick Wilcox. And I understand our firefighters and EMS saved 6 people in a house fire last night, including an infant. All right, and we're very, very proud. Community development, one of our key departments that's responsible for doing a lot of this real estate work. My good friend, although he wears the wrong colors on his fraternity shirts, my good friend Melvin Relich is the new community development director of that city. And there's one more department, but before I introduce the new people in that department, I want to talk about the person who's retiring in that department. This is a gentleman who grew up in East Cleveland on Melbourne, went to Shaw High School, went away to college, played baseball, got drafted for professional baseball, but came back here and became a police officer. He stuck with East Cleveland for 25 years, not only police, but athletics and community things, and worked in the schools. He was a substitute teacher for a while. And recently, what you know is that we laid off 2 police officers. Everybody knows that. Channel 19 was happy to report it. But what you may not know is that we had a choice to lay off 10 police officers or to lay off 2 police officers. The reason why we only laid off 2 was because of a man named Ralph Spots. Ralph, don't applaud just yet, I want to tell you what he did. Ralph Spots saw that we had a choice to lay off 10 police officers or 2 police officers. The difference between those numbers was if Ralph Spots retired, we could lay off only 2. If he did not retire, we had to lay off 10. And he said that he loved East Cleveland and he loved the police so much that he would rather retire. He didn't have to, but he saw what was going on and he wanted the department to live on for a long time and to have you have as many officers as possible. So if you don't mind, give a heartfelt, huge round of applause for Ralph Spots. And stand for him, please. Let him know you love him, scream and hopefully you'll hear it. Scream and holler and hoop and holler. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. Now, we do have a new police chief. That's a heck of a build-up, isn't it? We do have a new police chief. Remember I told you that during the tragedy that occurred, our police detectives located that suspect in 2 hours? Our new police chief is the man who led that detective unit and led the effort to locate that suspect in 2 hours. He solved many cold cases. He makes us proud to have the police department that we are. New chief of the police department, Michael Cardilli. And accompanying Michael Cardilli as captain, newly promoted captain, is Terry Wheeler. Is Terry Wheeler here? I thought I heard him. He's not here. He's fired. He's fired. I'm kidding. But we have new leadership in our city departments. But these new leaders come with challenges. They have to trim staff. They know that some of our positions in the city, although they are classified as full-time, 8 hours a day, some of them do not merit full-time status. Some people, there is not 8 hours of work in their position to pay them for. So we must consolidate those positions, and consolidation of duties has resulted in layoffs and cost savings. They must come up with ways to generate new revenue. And I know that Judge Dawson had to leave early, but Judge Dawson, I commend him because as we examine our city operations, Judge Dawson realized something small, but it was huge. That the court and police were not putting blocks on people's licenses if they didn't show up or pay their fines in court. Some people, when I was in my 20s, this applied to me, they will not pay unless they can't renew their license. And those funds come directly to cities to fund our police officers, fund our court operations, and fund our fire and EMS. So Judge Dawson will generate hundreds of thousands of dollars this year simply by blocking those licenses of those people who skipped out on court and didn't pay for their infractions in your town. Fiscal oversight, we all know, is there. We have the state auditors in. Fortunately, the state auditors this time did not lead anybody out in handcuffs. That's a good thing. Well, I do have a list of people I wouldn't mind having let out in handcuffs, but I wouldn't want to deal with the media fallout from it. But the state auditor has focused our attention on changes in our operation that must be made in order to keep East Cleveland fiscally solvent. And we will and must work together with mayor, with city council, and with the courts, and with the community. But with our partners that we mentioned in the his and the hers and the ours section, we must all work together. We can do it. We will do it. When the auditor of state paid closer attention to East Cleveland, we said that we knew the picture would be ugly. But we also committed to fix any problems that we can fix and change the ways that we operate, because all you can do sometimes is get the truth and then operate based on the truth, and that's what we intend to do here in the city of East Cleveland. And for those who would criticize, I'll close with this. You'd like to hear you close, right? It was spoken 104 years ago by Theodore Roosevelt in 1910. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best in the end knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the state of the city.